Welcome back, everybody. Wow. I feel like I haven't said that in a while. Anyway, before we get started, I just want to talk about something. When I asked you guys what games you wanted me to do revisiting episodes on, I saw a bunch of requests for games I did during my year-long Mario marathon, the biggest one being Super Mario Sunshine. And truth be told, I never even considered it because, one, that would involve playing Sunshine again, and I'm just not mentally prepared for that. And two, I'm planning on going back to those games in a different way, which will hopefully come to fruition at some point in the future. But a lot of you guys have been wanting me to talk about New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and you know how much I want to please you, so I figured I'd make an exception for this one. This game's been on the market for a while now, so the question is, does the original game hold up? And does it benefit from the Deluxe treatment? Well, I guess that was actually two questions, but both of them are going to be answered today. Also, the reason why it took me so long to get to this game is because of that thing over there. My HP Omen Obelisk gaming PC with an 8th generation Intel Core processor. It cost me about $1,500, so everything I made at the beginning of January went straight into that. Then I got my February paycheck and bought New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on the eShop soon after. Now I'm here to review it, so... Yay! Yay! Somebody like me, please? Without further me talking, welcome to the Revisiting. Alright, first let's take another minute to discuss what exactly my plan was. I'm actually hoping to make fully remastered versions of my old Mario videos, with updated opinions, better editing, and game footage that doesn't look like it was recorded with a potato. So I always thought I wouldn't cover New Super Mario Bros. U again until I got around to redoing my original review of it. But despite literally nobody asking them to, Nintendo felt the need to port it over to the Switch. Because if there's one thing the Switch clearly needs more of, it's Wii U ports. So now I have to play it again. Some of you are probably expecting me to give this game the Quick Smash treatment like I did with Super Mario Maker on the 3DS. But if I were to do that, then it would be the quickest Quick Smash in my channel's history. Because everything I would have said about this game, I already brought up in my original video, so I didn't want to seem redundant. Plus, to me, it's more fitting to do it as a revisiting episode, since it also gives me a chance to replay the original game. Before the Deluxe version came out, I haven't gone back to New Super Mario Bros. U a whole lot, and it's not for the reason you might think. Loads of people jumped off the New Super Mario Bros. Train, and I'm fully aware of why they did and where their problems with the series come from, but I never got sick of it. I only revisit these games from time to time because I worry that I would get tired of them if I played them as much as I do games like Super Mario Odyssey. I still like them a lot, and they hold a very special place in my heart. And yet, even so, this port's very existence confuses me. But here's how much my thoughts on the game have changed. New Super Mario Bros. U is a solid 2D platformer with a hefty amount of charm, and where it lacks in originality, it makes up for it with inventive level design and endearing simplicity. Now, when I say inventive, that doesn't always mean fun. While some levels prove to be great platforming challenges that are almost Super Mario World-like in their layout, there's some that are just straight up annoying. This issue even bleeds into some of the boss levels. About 95% of all the boss fights in this game are super easy. Some would even say laughably easy. The other 5% are those belonging to Bowser Jr. Not to say they're hard, just irritating. The New Super Mario Bros. Games get flack for being too derivative of each other, and it's very apparent with the Wii U title. With the exception of a few new worlds, a few new songs, and a few new bosses, most of the game's assets are recycled from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it just a little distracting. But it's not like it's entirely the same. I like the large interconnected world map, I like the new worlds such as Acorn Plains and Painted Swampland, and I like the idea of Peach's castle being taken over instead of Peach herself getting taken away. Like with the other New Super Mario Bros. Games, the most important thing I look for is if I had fun while playing. And with New Super Mario Bros. U in particular, I did. I'm not sure if I enjoy it as much as my initial review let on, but I still like it all the same. As for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, I mean, the game's good, but it's pretty much the exact same thing again, right down to following the Super Mario Adventures method of translating Yoshi language. Well, okay, maybe it's not the exact same thing, because it does have some new features. For example, in the main adventure, you can now switch between any of the lead characters on the pause screen. So if you get bored with playing as Mario for whatever reason, now you can swap him out with Luigi or Toad. You still can't play as your Mii, however, they're only available in the Challenge and Boost Rush mode. Well, at least we still have the Nabbit, who was only playable in New Super Luigi U, but is now present in both games. He's impervious to enemy damage, and he can't use power-ups. Instead, he collects them and gains extra lives for each one at the end of every stage. Only downside with him is that he can't ride Yoshis. Well, at least this bouncing animation's funny to look at. Then there's the new girl, Toadette. Oh, hold up there, guys. That won't be necessary because she's really not that bad. She plays about the same as everyone else, only she and the Nabbit handle better underwater, hitting question blocks makes 3-up moons appear instead of 1-up mushrooms, and whenever you enter a level with her, or the Nabbit as well, 100 extra seconds are added to the timer, which is extremely noticeable in New Super Luigi U. Speaking of which, I still don't really care for this mode very much. Its level design just doesn't seem to be as creative as the regular game, since it mostly relies on adding more enemies to make things harder when it really doesn't. Back to Toadette, she also comes with her own exclusive power-up, the Super Crown. This replaces Super Acorns that could have been obtained from question blocks, but Toadette herself can still use the Super Acorn when given one. But anyway, not only was the Super Crown the source of a slew of cringy memes and fan art, but it also turns Toadette into Peachette, basically letting us play as Princess Peach without it actually being Princess Peach. She has a hover ability like the real Peach, and she has an amazing float jump which makes her extremely reliable in certain situations. Toadette and the Nabbit are pretty much the easy mode for this game, like Funky Kong in the Switch port of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. New Super Mario Bros. U was never a hard game to begin with, so I don't tend to rely on these guys too much. In fact, I can only recall 1 or 2 instances where a level annoyed me to the point of switching to either of them. And really, the worst thing about Toadette is that her inclusion gave us Bowsette, and that's just criminal. The name doesn't even make sense. The suffix is supposed to imply that it's related to Toadette, but it's not. It's just Peach in an overly skimpy outfit with Bowser horns, and everything about her just makes me want to move to Russia and throw keyboards at people! I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. I still hate Bowsette. Moving on, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe also makes some changes to the controls. It's about the same in terms of layout, but one thing worth noting is that you can now perform a spin in midair by pressing the jump button a second time, and it's really useful when you're carrying objects like Koopa shells and baby Yoshis. But when I had to let the Pro Controller charge and play the rest of the game with the Joy-Cons, I really wish this didn't happen when I was recording footage, I noticed something odd. You know how you can shake the controller to spin? Well, for some reason it only seems to work with the right Joy-Con. The left Joy-Con only works on platforms that require using motion controls to move them. Actually, maybe that's why only the right one makes you spin, so it doesn't get intrusive in these sections. In that case, I guess this is fine. But overall, the new content only takes up a 16th of the whole package, since the rest of the game hasn't been changed at all. The graphics got a boost in resolution, but it's nearly identical to the original. So much so that you probably didn't even realize that was footage of the Wii U version you just saw. That also means things like the limited item inventory sadly haven't been fixed. What was wrong with how New Super Mario Bros. Wii handled it exactly? And the boss fights are still pathetically easy, or in Bowser Jr.'s case, downright poopy. I don't always expect ports of older titles to change the core gameplay in any drastic ways, but just some slight tweaks here and there would have been nice. Ignoring these minor issues, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is still the same game I know and love. But that's kind of the problem, it's still the same game. And with all seriousness, why is this even a thing? I get why Nintendo ports so many Wii U games over to the Switch because they want more people who didn't buy a Wii U or were even interested in it to experience the games they might have missed out on. New Super Mario Bros. U is a fun game and all, but I wouldn't go so far as to say people missed out on it, at least not to where it needs a deluxe port. It makes sense with games like Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors, Pokken Tournament, and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, because they were still relatively recent games by the time they got ports on the Switch, and they were still pretty popular too. New Super Mario Bros. U came out in 2012, and the deluxe version came out just last month. That's a whole 7 years later. In that time, the popularity of the new Super Mario Bros. Series diminished quite a bit, and Nintendo already gave us an entirely new 3D Mario game that was totally unique to the Switch hardware, so why couldn't they do the same for 2D Mario as well? I know games take a long time to make, but again, New Super Mario Bros. U came out 7 years ago. Making a new 2D Mario game could have been done between then and now, and I'm sure many would agree that's what we should have gotten. I'm not really disappointed with what's here because I didn't have extremely high expectations to begin with. I expected new Super Mario Bros. U on the Switch with some new features, and that's exactly what I got. It's not necessarily what I wanted, or what anybody wanted, but it does its job perfectly fine. I can really only recommend it to those who've yet to play the original game and want to give it a try should they even be interested. If you have played through the Wii U title, this won't really give you that much more than what you've already experienced. But if you're really curious to try it out, I would personally advise you to wait for a price drop. A port of a 7-year-old Wii U game at a retail price of $60. That's a bit much.
Congratulations, Mark! You've gone through this entire video without making a dag-nabbit joke!
Why is that a big deal?
Oh. Well, I don't know. I guess it's really nothing special.
Well, it doesn't matter now. You mentioned the joke, so it's obviously gonna happen. Or is it? No? Oh. Okay. So, new Super Mario... Alright. So, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is just as fun as the original was, but I don't think it offers enough new content to really justify its existence. And it's a port of a game that a majority of people don't really care about, so part of me feels like it's kind of a waste. It's very, very small, but it's still a part of me. I just hope that sometime soon we'll get a new 2D Mario that more people could actually get excited for. You win this round, Miyamoto.